All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:32. It is October 2nd. I just got a new microphone for my tech guy, so I want to make sure that it sounds good. Hopefully, it does because I've had a few guys from the Alpha team tell me that it's a little light. So I'm going to ask you guys if you guys can hear me. If not, I'll talk very loud. Anyway, my name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to the 6:30 Club. Definitely an interesting start to the month. Once again, they came in after marking up the tape the last day where you would think it's illegal to run the market 50 handles in 30 minutes and then take them back in a minute. But I guess, the shenanigans are the shenanigans. Anyway, let me say hello to some of my dogs around the world before we get to it. You guys can see the chart of the spies. This way, at least you see some levels. You can write them down while I'm saying hello. Who do we got? We got Sam Dominic. Sounds good. Delivery. Yeah, deliveries today for Tesla. We'll see how that goes. Billy D or Big D. Jim B. We got Scotty Gids. We got Zerto. We got Blair. What's up? What's up? JJ says loud and clear. Dario says China booming this morning. It's been booming for a week and a half. You got to get it done. I love seeing the same guys every single day. That means you're developing your routine, developing your process. You're getting really, really consistent, and that's the only way you're going to make money in this market. You're not going to make money waking up late, following other people's trades. You're going to make money being prepared, having levels, and reacting when it's time to react. That's kind of like what happened yesterday. If you remember on Monday, Powell spoke. He definitely sounded more hawkish than dovish. So the market, sold off first, and then in the last from 2:30 to 4 o'clock went straight up, and then literally yesterday, within 1 minute, they took back the entire move. So if you kind of got squeezed, or you got long at the end of the day, thinking some new flows were going to come in, boom, they took it back really fast. So what do you have to do? You have to figure out what could you handle, because a candle like this, could have been this, so if you would have, if you didn't get out of the way on this candle when you came back in September, you wound up getting really, really beat up for 4 or 5 days. And, nobody wants to get beat up to start a month, to start a new quarter. So if you get out of the way, I think you were prudent. I got out of the way with a lot of my stuff. And if you, got short, yesterday wasn't the day to get paid for it. As of right now, if you look at the chart of the spies, this morning we're down a little bit. Spies are down now 60 cents, not a whole hell of a lot. So, they're still playing around here. You have yesterday's low of 566, which are above. So we'll see. Do we hold 566 and go green and stay in this range we've been in? We've been in this range pretty much now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost 10 days. Some things are acting better than others, which is always the way it is. So you have 566, you break 566, you have the 20. This really is your line in the sand for this range. This could wind up being a choppy, October, while we actually consolidate a really big move. We're up 20% in the S&P or so. So that's a lot more than the average year. The average year you're up 7-8%. So just the question is, how does it trade? At this point again, so 566, 564. The big story is China. Thank goodness most of the people who read my report at the end of the year or have been following me, or I'm on Fox Business once or twice a month, I've been talking about, if you asset allocate into China, every single month, chances are you're going to catch a pretty serious move, kind of like what happened with us in 2007, 2008. And then if you shorted the market after 2008, you got annihilated. Literally, we're back at all-time highs of 2011. So if you're caught trying to short the FXI, because you missed the move, I would just say be careful. You go to the weekly chart of the FXI, and again, look where the China was back, a decade ago. It's not even up to where it broke down from. So you're thinking that it's too far, too fast, and you could be shorting the FXI, for the next 2 months, caught all the way up to 37. So either figure out a way how to participate in names that do well because China's rallying, figure out a way to be in some of the Chinese names, or just avoid it and just know what it's doing. As of right now, the Nikkei traded with us, so it's a little weaker. So that's why the Nikkei is down and the Hang Seng's up. And, there's one void, the two voids are filled. First this one, and now this one. And chances are it gets up here at some point in the next 3 to 6 months. So Just don't get caught in the pain trade. Pain trades suck. I got caught in one at the end of August, and I lost a lot of money, and then I had to make a lot of it back day in, day out. Some of you guys, got short BABA on this candle. Some made a lot of money buying BABA, having options on, and then you had this big gap up, right here, and then it took out the prior high, which was a trigger buy also for many of you. Then you had a decent gap up, which still, was buyable for most. But then I would say on this day, a lot of people went out short. A lot of people like, hey, we have to get to the 8th day. It has to go lower. Nothing has to happen. So anyway, I was looking at it saying, hey, maybe we break this low and get to there also. But it was really strong yesterday. So what did Red Dog do? I didn't fight it. I stayed away. And then all of a sudden this candle happened. So hopefully you covered when it went back above, this high, instead of being caught short this thing, worrying what you have to do with it today, up another $6 in your face. Just because you got out early, just because you missed it, now you're shorting it. That's not a way to do it. Okay, you could really lose a lot of money fighting things, trying to be a contrarian. Being a contrarian, you could find that move, but wait for a signal from the market. And yesterday, BABA never gave you that signal. It never was weak. While the market was coming in, BABA was still up. Same thing with this Futu. Everybody wants to short this Futu now. You almost had a topping tail here, and it looked like, hey, look at this stretch. I get it. And some people, again, start making money in the beginning part of the move. And then all of a sudden, maybe they get out here. Then they're like, oh, this is an exhaustion gap. And then PS, they don't cover on this day. And then, they're getting rolled. Futu's up another 14 points. And you're hating life. You're wishing for bad news. You're not going out for takeout Chinese food anymore. You're not getting your favorite spare ribs and egg rolls or wonton soup on your Sunday night because, you're getting crazy there. Yeah, Todd D caught that. You know what? Neo was our great trade. Like Neo, I put on a lot of Neo options right around here for like 11 cents, 15 cents. I was selling them at 30 cents. I sold all the way up to $1.40. So anyway, don't be obsessed with China if you're not in it. I know a lot of people talking about it, but anyway, so let's go back to the U.S. markets real quickly. So you do have, the spies, and they say what? They say sell Rosh Hashanah. What's it called? By Yom Kippur. Well, Rosh Hashanah starts today, and it's tomorrow, and then and then next week is Yom Kippur. So we'll see how that goes. Ultimately, something like this could happen. Especially if Israel retaliates and blows out some oil fields or some of the nuclear reactors, and then maybe you have a nice, really buyable move down here. I'm just targeting it. Maybe first you got to get below 564, then you have to get here. I'm not saying it's going to get there, but I'm thinking about it the same way. They engulfed this entire range, gave you a move lower. And then on that September 11th reversal day was when we all put on, a lot of swing trades, and then it became methodical again. So I'm going to try and be a little light in here. I still think at some point we're going to get this crypto move in October, and November. But, this topping tail, hopefully you reduced, which I reduced also, but I didn't get out of everything on this topping tail. I was like, you know what, I'm going to, get really big here and reduce into there. And then all of a sudden that happened. And that was a bit of a pain. But anyway, 34.69, where's IBIT? Down 20 cents. See if that holds today, or not. If it doesn't hold that prior low, it could go a little bit lower. Just, a lot of people like, it's a fake out. Crypto's going to go nuts in October, November. Well, you'll see an igniting bar, and then you'll see like it not look back. And right now, that's not the case. Right now, you just had a big 3-day move. We'll see what happens here, and then this really is, needs to be another line in the sand. And who knows, this range could go on for a long time. Then as far as like mega cap tech, the only really methodical, awesome name has been Meta. Meta broke out above 542 and went to 576. Yesterday, I came in long options. Thank goodness I sold those options in the first 2 minutes of the day. And now it's like, I'm not sure. We'll see what happens with Tesla, because they're coming out with the deliveries. Dan Ives been pounding the table, pounding. And so far, we don't know exactly yet. We'll see. But those are the only two names that have been awesome. And I got to say yesterday, Apple, wow. This back and forth. They make fun of it on TV, but you can't, don't make fun of it as a trader. For this stock to go out, at the dead highs, which it did. Look, it went out of the dead highs. A lot of traders were probably long saying, hey, this is the next Mag 7 to make a new all-time high. Look at it, above the moving averages, looking good, new flows. And then all of a sudden, another report contradicting the other report about iPhone sales. And then that happens. It opened below 229 yesterday. So, I got out pre-market. I think I might have even been doing the 630 club when someone from the Alpha team is like, what just happened to Apple? It's up $1, it's down 2. And my inner voice, which, remember I told you about go time, the reason why I go in a sauna, the reason why I go in a cold plunge, the reason why, I do all these things to train my brain to make a decision fast is for things like that. So boom, go time. I was done with Apple pre-market at 230.50, 231, and that saved me a lot of money here. And now we'll see what happens with Apple today. What's Apple doing today? Apple down $1.28, above 224. See what happens here. Now, listen, if you're an investor in Apple, passive investing and active trading are two different things. Active trading, you get paid monthly, you get paid quarterly. You have to be right. Passive investing, if you've been in Apple for 5 years, you don't give a sugar honey iced tea about what happened here yesterday. Bottom line is, if you trade it, that's a tough move. What up, Joshua? I appreciate that. I do try and be consistent. NVIDIA, I was long also, but at least NVIDIA gave you a room yesterday to make a choice. They didn't just kill you right away. I came in long the 125 calls, and I also came in with some stock, and I sold it up. But what happened? Remember the whole concept? Get above and stay above, get above and stay above, get above and stay above, boom, get above and stay above. Well, did it? No. So once it didn't, you had it reduced. And then once it went red and you saw what was happening with Apple and you saw what was happening with the SPYs, you had to get out of the way. And now, this is not so special. It hasn't been special the whole time. It hasn't led the whole way, but this overall consolidation after a huge move made some sense. And now the question is, what NVIDIA do we have? This is the low 115.79. This is 113 and change. You might have a setup here today where it goes from, you could buy it in the hole, it reclaims 115.79, goes green. That's what happened here. This was a nice trade. If you got long here, which I did last week, which was a great trade, right before, MU came out, you were able to sell into this lower high. Just say you had, 5,000 shares and you got down to 1,000 shares, right when it broke this spot, hopefully you got down to 500 shares, and then you were able to get back to, a few thousand shares. That's how you use a tier system, and then that happened. So I have no NVIDIA on. I actually even got rid of my calls. I'm like, I don't think this is getting back above 125, so I'm going to save myself some money. So at this point, I feel a little bit good about that. Little decisions is what you have to do to make yourself feel good. The right decision on the right day, because sometimes each day the decision process changes based on the market composure. And as of right now, it was good to get rid of those 125 calls. It was good to get rid of the stocks. So now this morning, hey, maybe we hold, maybe we make a 15-minute low. Maybe the market goes lower and it shows you some relative strength, and then you could buy it. It reclaims this and does just another kind of bar like this. Even here, even if it's heading lower, that's a nice trade. That can make you a few $1,000s. That could be great for October 2nd. Anyway, we'll see what happens here. Otherwise, it's just a choppy mess. There's not a lot of, you look at Avago, at least this gave you a clue to get out of the way, this small ascending channel. If this was going to be special, this should have never broke. It did. So maybe, now it's below the 8-day. It's testing the 21-day. You could say, here's your 50-day. So, which wouldn't be the worst thing considering, look where it came from. This was your red dog reversal back here on September 9th. And then you had a really nice sequence that ended on this day. So some people are like, hey, red dog, what's an active sequence? Well, an active sequence is when a trade starts and pays you to massage it all the way to an area that shouldn't happen. So if you bought Avago on the red dog reversal, you had follow through, it filled that gap. Remember that? Then it had power into the trend line. Then it took it out, held the 8-day, made a little bit of a doji. And right here, you should have probably at least got very small and then even got out of the way maybe. And now it's just like, okay, does it hold here? This is 161-ish. What's yesterday's low in Avago? 165.80. So there could be a trade there. If you sold strength or got stopped out and you made adjustments, then there's ways to generate cash flow. What would have been more annoying is if you got out, just say here, and all of a sudden it gaps up and goes, and you try to do the right thing. Anyway, but with that said, 160.40. So a lot of people are talking about commodities and natural gas and nuclear names. I get it. They had a nice move. I was on with Liz claiming this on in actually where was it? It was June. I said accumulate UNG for this summer because there's a lot of big name guys that are saying it's going to get to, UNG can get to 17 to 20 in the fall. So if you did that, you're doing just fine. And natural gas is on its way to 17 and a half or more. What's it doing this morning? Let's see. What's natural gas doing this morning? It's up 11 cents. All right. Remember, accumulate the summer, double bottom. Now you're getting paid. As far as like the nuclear names, I think CCJ is one of the best setups. Okay, a lot of people, took some pain just buying it, and and that's what some guys do if they have a concept. But really, right here on this gap up is when this trade kind of triggered. You had a high, a low, lower, double bottom right here, and now you have a bull flag, and you'll see if this active sequence can continue to the upside. So CCJ is something you should watch as far as a uranium play. NNE, you know what, Space Specialist? I got a little hurt the other day in NNE. NNE came out with that news to contract, and it just traded very loose and wide. But again, that was then. This is now. I think I bought it on this day, and that happened. But anyway, yeah, this looks good. Moves when it wants to move. It's I guess. So it gets above this little spot here. There's room. So if you want to write down a nuclear name that people like, my boy Matty W likes this. Matty D. And it just, these are a little harder. You have to have a little bit more conviction and you have to do a little bit more research because I don't trade as well technically, but this looks pretty good for a move higher. So, I think that's good. And I'll tell you, Todd D, who's been a great addition to the Alpha team, my buddy from college, my fraternity brother, he's been all over LEU. Yeah, LEU. For another energy name, this one took off. So another bull market started, another active sequence. And if you want to do some research and you want to approach these, and get away from Apple, Microsoft, Google, and all those, you could do it. What happens is everyone's like, Red Dog, how does your go-to list change? I'm like, well, I do add new names in. They don't become like crazy focuses, but I add some new names in wherever, the new sector is that's hot, and then they come in and usually they leave, and then my go-to list usually comes back to life depending on after the consolidation. Like these Mag 7 names, they're going to come back to life, and I want to be engaging. The semis are going to come back another time. And right now, there is a little bit more of a focus on energy names. I did buy, what's it called? I didn't even buy it right. I just bought it because, everyone's like, Red Dog, you have to have some exposure to the XLE or to Oxy. And I bought Oxy the other day, broken as hell. I just bought options. So when something doesn't look good, I just buy options. So I did buy options down here, the $55 calls for December. Then all of a sudden, everyone started doing it. I don't know where they got it from, but maybe me, whatever. I did sell over half yesterday, and we'll see. This will be some resistance, and maybe there's a little bit more of an overthrow. If you want to invest in an energy name, XOM looks a lot better. XOM, held in. It's got a channel, but these things are sloppy. They're just so sloppy. Last time I looked good, it had to go down, had to do a false breakdown to come back up. So anyway, Nike's lower. I'm not looking at Nike. As far as a different name that I think you should watch that I've been watching and it's been making me money buying dips, I like this Dash. My friends who come from big institutions, they said that there's a lot of institutional interest. People still don't truly understand it. It held the 8-day. I sold some. I'm still in some. Maybe it gets down to here. If it gets down to this 136 area, what you want to do is you want to buy options for earnings, in November. If you look at the weekly chart, you'll see it a little bit clearer. This is when it came public. It was one of the few stocks that came public after 2021. Of course, it hit this prior resistance. So at some point, let it go sideways a little bit. And then I do think that this Dash, you could save this because a lot of people like to, could be like 175-ish at some point, going into the fourth quarter, but it's up to you to approach it. As far as other things, people like Red Dog, you haven't talked about Microsoft. Because Microsoft isn't special. Microsoft gave you a move, a catch-up move right here at 416. I remember saying, hey, sell it into this gap fill. Little things. I just throw little things out there for you to think about. And then it broke lower yesterday. But at some point, Microsoft will make Microsoft great again. No, I'm kidding. Can't talk politics. Anyway, I did think Vance was really good last night. I was very impressed. Very articulate, very smart, actually very presidential. Only 39. I wouldn't mind him staying in politics and becoming a 2028 front runner at some point. But anyway, we won't talk politics. So here's where Microsoft is. Maybe there's a trade here. This broke 425. Google tried to break out of its pocket pivot. Hit some resistance, came in. To me, everything's going to be a little bit of a trade the next few days between what happened in Israel, what's going to be the retaliation. We're in October. I just don't want to give money back, and I don't feel like I have FOMO on missing anything. I don't need to be cajones to the wall short, just because something's up a lot, and I don't want to, and I just kind of want to step back. I had a lot of positions on. Since that September 11th reversal and made a nice amount of money. And I think the Alpha team did great. Redler All Access did great. A lot of you guys giving me a lot of high fives on this reversal day. I do think this could happen over the next some point through October, and then maybe there'll be a better play. And at that point, we'll see what the leadership is, what's near highs, what's going on. Anyway, some people said, what about Palantir? It's definitely a leader. Okay, and I definitely think that we've made really good money in this year. It's been probably, if I go to my P&L, you'll see that Palantir probably is my top 5 P&L names. If you think that it's going to go again, it's a little sloppy. What you could do is go out and buy some calls, go out and buy some some 40, like a $40, $45 call spread for mid-November or December, and then when the trade turns on, maybe you approach it, because right now it's a little choppy here between the 8 and 21 day. I mean, the 8 day, it looks like it could probably get down to here if it wants to. So just be careful. We caught a really good trade when we got added to the S&P. This is when you had that pro earnings gap. Some people are still in it from down here and saying, hey, Red Dog, I'm just, I don't trade for a living. I just, put on some swings. I use your gap strategy or this and that. And if you did, this doesn't matter to you. You're sitting pretty. But anyway, sticking to the issues of present. I'm not going to talk politics between now and the election. Everyone has their right to vote for who they want. I'm just telling you that I never really watched him as close, and I watched him last night, and I thought he did a great job. That's me. I'm only a technician. I'm a nobody. I'm a guy that goes in a sauna every day, an ice barrel, has a son, trying to be on the rec commission. I advocate for Oktoberfest. I raise a lot of money for charity, and I try and tell it like it is, and I'm telling you like it is. He sounded great, and I think that it is what it is. Anyway, and I like the policies on that side. I like strong borders. I like capitalism. I like free enterprise. I like a strong Israel. Like, these are just some things that Red Dog likes that might not be so supported the other way. I do help as many people as possible, but I like to do that help instead of the government take my money and give it to wherever they want. It usually goes in their pocket. That's Washington anyway. Twilio. You want me to do Twilio? Okay. TWLO. What a sloppy chart. It's trying, but look at this sloppiness. It's a laggard. If I were in this, I would put a stop here, at the 21 day. It's trying to do a little bit better. I remember when this was great. That was when it was above the 8 day, the 21 day. There was a nice trend. It's not doing that yet. What's it doing this morning? Oh, look at that. It's up 270. Must have come out with some news or something. Is it above here? This is 65. There's a gap that could be filled, right here. So, yeah. I don't know. What's the news on it? Anyway. All right, cool. Gold's been great. Gold's been a lot better than Bitcoin and silver. My friends that have been buying physical gold for 10 years, they're chilling. They're actually selling some. Those who put 10% of their pie chart in gold are doing great. And those who approach it tactically have been long pretty much since here. And it's been above the 8 and 21 days since. We talked about this many times. It was on my report to this, that. My money trade, I look for money trades. My money trade was right here when it got above 193, went to 225. I really haven't done much here since, but it's trending. It's great. And just know your time frame for gold. It's been a lot better than silver, and at some point, look how long it took by the way, for gold to go sideways and consolidate and drive everybody nuts before having a clean breakout and wore everyone out. I do think this is going to happen in Bitcoin also. It's just a matter of, how long does it have to take? This, if people were waiting for a breakout from 2020, it took 4 years to wear everybody out. I'm hoping it doesn't happen in crypto, because it could go for as long as it wants. But just don't get worn out with ranges. Ranges are meant to make everyone feel as stupid as possible. And then when ranges resolve, you got to make sure you're not worn out and you can go there. And with that said, listen, guys, I got a little beat up yesterday also. Just it happened. I'm a real trader. I don't play one on TV, even though I am on TV, and I'll be on next Wednesday with Liz Klinman, and I'll be on election day, and then I'm allowed to talk politics. So with that being said, do we hold 566? If not, here's your 21 day. If we don't hold this spot, then there's really a void all the way down to here, and that wouldn't be so bad either. And then we get to see what's happening as far as relative strength, as far as sectors, and then we don't feel so bad about ourselves. Like, you get out of your risk on a day like this, you don't feel so bad about yourself when that happens, because you think about all the money you would have lost if you just held your nose and broke your rules. So instead, we'll navigate and try and get it done. All right, appreciate you. Oh my goodness, 6:58. If you stayed with me from 6:30 till now, you know what? I appreciate you. Hopefully I taught you something. I gave you some ideas to think about, some charts to look at yourself, and if we align on some thoughts, then that's how I had some value for you.